have in place. A lot of trusted advisors and people in the channel can do really well by just helping their clients understand, what do you have currently deployed? How are you currently protecting your environment? You got to know where you are. Before you're going to make any decisions, before you do anything else, you have to understand where you are today. And a lot of the channel can help organizations understand where they spend their money, what are they getting for their current spend, and what can you do to improve their position.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Incident Report presented by Quest Technology Management. I'm Paul Burke, Director of Technology Communications. Every week, I'm joined by VP of Sales and Partnerships, Adam Burke. The Incident Report brings you conversations with thought leaders, business innovators, and channel mavericks to help you stay productive and agile in a changing technology landscape. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Incident Report. It's episode 72. It's 2024. Adam, good to be back. How was the last month?
Good, Paul. Well rested. Excited to be here as we're recording this. The 49ers recently just barely squeaked past the Pack. Hate seeing the Packers in the postseason, but the Niners made it, so they survive another weekend, going to the NFC Championship game next week. So pretty excited about that one. I'm a huge Niner fan, so that's good stuff.
Yeah, that was the definition of squeaked by. It was not encouraging. And the Lions, I feel like the Lions are going to be quite a challenge if that's the 49ers that show up.
I think it was a good wake up. It was a good wake up. Shake the cobwebs off the bye week. Never a fan of the bye week. I know everyone talks about the bye week to get healthy. Not a fan. But I don't know anything about professional football. But anytime the Niners get a bye week, they come out a little sluggish. I think they're dialed in, and I think they're gonna stomp some throats next week. So
I'm with you. Every year, I feel like everybody wants that bye week, but I feel like it never helps a team to take that time off and lose the rhythm.
and we can say that here from our ivory tower, but we don't have to deal with necessarily the car crash after car crash that is the NFL on the bodies of those
Mhm.
guys out there banging around. So I'm sure that they appreciate, a little bit of time off to ice the wounds and heal up a little bit. So,
Adam,
but
you don't know what I do after this. Maybe I'm signed up for UFL. Maybe I've been training for that come
that's
the
hey,
spring.
it's spring ball is back. The Rock said so. Spring ball is back, and I've seen the commercials. It's gonna be epic. So,
Yeah, check me out. I'm making a little side money out there. I'm a punt returner, so it'll be
oh,
exciting.
good Lord.
Yeah.
Worst. That's the worst special team out there. All right, let's get to it, man. We are way down the rabbit hole of
Okay,
NFL, and no one's here to hear us talk about NFL. What are they here to hear us
great.
talk about, Paul?
What better way to ring in 2024 by looking back to 2023? We're starting with channelplaybook.com. Peter Radizeski. Adam, you mentioned this before. Like we've spoken to him, we've had him on the podcast. Like the man just calls it like he sees it. He doesn't soften any. He's just like, hey, this is what I see, and here are the facts. And I really like that because out of the gate, the article starts: telcos are in a bad spot, way too much debt and declining profitable revenue. So no like soft entrance. He's just like, boom, telcos not looking great.
Yeah, yeah, no, Peter's a great guy. He does get a lot of it's a hard thing to do in the sales world to tell it like it is, right? And he's kind of one of those people who he's not going to sugarcoat it. He's going to tell you how he sees it. I appreciate that. There's no real marketing fluff or spin or, necessarily silver lining. I don't think it's negative. I think it's a realistic approach and it's kind of a realist. And so, yeah, I appreciate it. He wrote a great summary of 2023 and all the different areas. So that's one of we do the channel futures and the industry rags, if you will, often on this show. But I wanted to highlight Peter's summary of 2023 as a kind of an individual contributor to the channel. I appreciate what he does.
What do you see to the telecom? Are you in agreement with a lot of his points? Because he has some really great points in here, or really thoughtful points backed up with data. Are you seeing the same thing?
He has the data to back up the positions around revenue and affordability and broadband as far as being, part of the bright spot, partially because of federal funding and things like that. But as far as the bankruptcies, the private equity getting involved in different stories, one of the things he called out was out of a couple hundred SPACs that were founded to acquire assets and fund them, I
Mhm.
think something like 98% of them failed. or were dissolved. So a SPAC is basically, rather than going public, people put together a fund that has a special purchasing target. So it's basically a way to like create a fund to go buy companies and create a story later.
Hmm.
Shocker, it takes more than just money to have a good thesis and a good business outcome. So that SPAC game kind of blew up in the faces of a lot of people, and he kind of calls out, those different things that are going on out in the market. So I wouldn't disagree with much. The thing I would, maybe put like a positive spin. So, without violating my own statement just a minute ago about telling it how it is, there are more opportunities for partners in the channel to grow their business, but they have to get outside of their current comfort zone. They have to go into other services that are still being leveraged, and the commissions and the residuals and the revenue numbers aren't declining. And I'm not talking about woo-woo artificial intelligence. The woo-woo artificial intelligence stuff is great and it's going to change the world. No one's really figured out how to monetize it yet, other than getting private equity and venture capitals funds to dump a ton of money towards it.
Hmm.
That's cool and that's great. And I'm not talking trash about anyone running that play. Partners getting involved in managed IT services, just operational support, help desk, basic cybersecurity around what people have already invested in,
Hmm.
having those conversations and getting outside of the UCaaS, CCaaS, and telecommunication, broadband and circuit conversation.
He mentioned like UCAS, the growth was sub 10%. Are you seeing a slowdown there? Because he seems to think there was a lackluster growth in the cloud communications.
You hate saying this, but it is true. People are racing to the bottom on cost per seat, right? So,
Mm.
he points out the fact that the average seat cost for UCaaS 3 years ago was $18. Now, average seats are going for $12 to $13, right? That's basically a 30% reduction in top line revenue for the same service in
Hmm.
3 years. So that means that every year you sell something, you're making, if on that trajectory, you're making 10% less every year you say that you sell the same volume. So it's a commodity, it's a race to zero. More and more people are leveraging Teams. 50%, 60% of the world is still on premise, right? So he highlights kind of the Avaya bankruptcy and that situation, but Avaya's still got a lot of on-prem assets out there, and people aren't necessarily looking to forklift everything to cloud services. So one of the things that I appreciate about that is it cuts through the idea of, okay, what are people actually doing? What are clients looking for help with? You can see that the UCaaS growth was, sub 10%, but the caveat to that is, okay, what are people actually doing with their existing platforms? So they
Hmm.
have on-premise and you're only growing by 10%. What's everyone else doing with their services? What's everyone else doing with their on-premise? Are they refreshing it? Do they need ongoing support? How are they optimizing what they've already invested in? Just because one thing doesn't sell doesn't mean that the inverse, or what everyone kind of poo-pooed back in the day for on-prem services, isn't still there and available and people are looking for help.
And one thing he focuses on is cybersecurity, that threats abound, they're everywhere, and reaching out, working with customers, see how you can help them with cybersecurity is a big potential win for people in the channel.
That's kind of following the pain train, right? So where's the pain in the market? People are struggling to secure their environments. They're continuing to struggle just to know what threats they're facing. And some people, in the middle market and the SMB world, some of them don't even know what they have, right?
Mm.
So what do they have in place? A lot of trusted advisors and people in the channel can do really well by just helping their clients understand, what do you have currently deployed? How are you currently protecting your environment? You got to know where you are. Before you're going to make any decisions, before you do anything else, you have to understand where you are today. And a lot of the channel can help organizations understand where they spend their money, what are they getting for their current spend, and what can you do to kind of improve their position. That's not a technical conversation. People always say like, well, I got to get trained up and I got to be the expert. And you can do that, but it's not a technical conversation. More and more organizations are having that, I'm going to use a buzzword here, business outcome conversation, right? That's, what are they actually trying to do and what do they have in place to help them get there?
And we will link the article. Worth your time. It's a great deep dive into 2023. Adam, I know you love AI. You can't get enough of it. So we're jumping over to channel futures. AI-related sales will be strong for channel partners in 2024.
I think it's a good story, and I think it gets people excited, right? So I was, artificial intelligence. I was flipping through the channels in between football games this weekend and sitting there with my 10-year-old daughter, and Terminator 2 came on. Probably kept it on that station a little bit too long with the 10-year-old daughter. The shotgun to the forehead of the T-1000 as they're chasing Sarah Connor to the insane asylum was a little rough. So I got a little bit of trouble for that one. But artificial intelligence, people have been talking about it forever. People love
Mhm.
to tell stories about it, love to understand about it. But the drivers, I think the biggest opportunity for the channel is, okay, people are going to do what they're going to do. They're going to build the next tools. There's a bit of a hype cycle going on right now, but you can capitalize on that hype cycle and do well by helping to provide the underlying assets that enable what AI is driving, right? So there's data center opportunities, right? People are looking for power, space, and cooling. There's compute and resource, and obviously we've all seen the meteoric rise of NVIDIA and the chips out there, right? People are struggling to find processors and storage and categorizing data. So helping organizations categorize their data, helping making sure organizations know where their customer and where their intellectual property and their data sets reside. Is it
Mhm.
in Azure? Is it in AWS? Is it off net? Is it backed up? All these underlying services, AI is the next thing on top, right? So the T-1000 in Terminator 2 has all sorts of cool features and functions below. It's basically liquid metal, artificial intelligence that's fighting against a previous version of artificial intelligence, right? There are underlying components that support artificial intelligence, and that's going to drive a lot of purchasing. We're seeing a lot of data center requirements, a lot of power requirements. People are trying to figure out how to do more with less and be as efficient as possible. So we're seeing some cool use cases out there of using excess energy supplies and different things out there and building out modular data centers. So very cool stuff going on in the market right now.
Mhm.
I don't think anyone's going to crack the code on how to monetize AI out of the gate. I think that's still kind of in woo-woo land for a lot of people. What they are monetizing is, the large language models and categorizing your data and then building decisions from that, right? So it's still a little light in my opinion. It gets people excited, and that's good. You need salespeople to be excited to go move the needle and go kind of carry the flag forward. But I love going back to this analogy about we're both from California. In Northern California, there was a gold rush. A couple folks got really, really wealthy mining for gold, but and actually going out there and staking a claim and actually finding the gold nuggets. But a lot of people perished in the hills. And the people who made the real money were the people who helped them with the supplies and the resources to go stake their claim and give it a best shot. Not saying I want to, wish the gold diggers and the 49ers well as they go, to probably perish in the Sierra Nevadas, but and sell 'em some Levi's jeans and some gold pans on the way. But that's a lot of where the opportunity I think is for the channel is, hey, there's going to be some people out there taking some moonshots, and you can help them. And I strongly advise them to be cautious with the latest
Mhm.
hype cycle. But if they wanna source some stuff and they want to buy the compute, the data center, the resources, all that kind of good stuff, you have a great opportunity to help them get there. And some of them are going to make it. Some are going to make it huge. A lot of them aren't, but just being there to help them through that is I think the biggest opportunity for AI right now.
Adam, 2 articles that I think are really worth people's time. So thank you for breaking it down today. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, I know it's fun and excited for the new year. 2024 is going to have its own set of challenges. 2023 did as well, but it was a great year, 2023. Thank you to all of our partners and sponsors and of course our clients. And we're really looking forward to 2024 can do. So thanks again, everybody.
Thanks so much for listening. The Incident Report is brought to you by Quest Technology Management. With over 40 years of experience, Quest is a leading technology integrator working seamlessly with your staff and systems to achieve your IT goals. Learn more about everything they do at questsys.com. And if you have questions or suggestions for the podcast, you can always email Adam and myself at theincidentreport@questsys.com. We hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next time.